What's up, everybody? Welcome to a kind of funny reacts for the Nintendo Switch. X is giving it to you. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside the pride of Long Island, Colin Moriarty.
It's good to be here with you today.
It's good to be here with you today. And over there, the pure one, Tim Gettys.
Yes.
Now, Tim, you said from the get-go you're going to be the NX's biggest fanboy.
Oh, I know. I am.
I don't know if you've checked the internet. Everyone is a Switch fanboy this morning.
Good. Good for them.
Okay.
I don't give a shit. I'm not one of these like bandwagon motherfuckers that hates on that shit. Let's do it. Let's support this shit.
Yeah, you want
everybody,
everybody?
come on. Let's fucking do this. Switch, I'll give it to you. Dumb name. Doesn't matter. Doesn't fucking matter.
Awful name.
It's not the Wii 2. There's Wii's out of this shit.
Right.
There's no families. I'm not seeing any families in this trailer.
It's all young
no
millennials.
Families.
Millennials who
We
want to
got
go
all
to
these
rooftop
hot
parties.
people.
Oh, yeah, really hot people.
I love hot people, Greg.
You are one.
I don't give a shit about families.
Yeah.
This is awesome. This trailer is exactly what I needed to see. Now, is all the bad news going to come crashing down? Are we going to hear about the battery? Are we going to hear about how the online ecosystem sucks? Are we going to hear about how we're going to have to buy Super Mario 3 again? Sure, we are. But today we have this. And I'm very, very happy about it. Does that look like a toy? Does that look like a toy?
Well, I mean, the controllers, the
controllers
Joy-Con controllers do look like a toy.
But
I
I don't take issue with that. The form factor, the form factor is a little small, but yeah, so I think it's great. I saw the trailer today, and I was actually really impressed with it. It's exactly what I envisioned. You know,
We've talked about this
something
for a while,
like what it was going to be: removable controllers, attachable controllers, all this. I think the marketing was very smart. The commercial is very smart for it. I agree with you. I think that the bad news is going to be how powerful or not powerful it is, and it's probably not going to be very powerful, which might hinder third-party sport in the future and might hinder the scope of games you're seeing. For instance, it was really cool to see Skyrim on there. Skyrim came out 5 years ago. So
it doesn't look fantastic.
No, right. So
at first I was like, is that Infinity Blade? Then I realized perspective, but yeah.
But you know, obviously Zelda looks fantastic. We played Zelda on Wii U, all this. I do take issue with the name. I think the name is stupid. And obviously it wasn't gonna be called NX. Obviously that was its Dolphin or Revolution. It wasn't clearly gonna be called that.
I am upset it's NX. So come on, guys.
Yeah.
After all this.
Yeah, it's a little strange. Like, and people are like, well, you know, some people are like, they love the name. I respect that. And some people are like, it's better than Wii U. And I'm like, you could have called it the fucking Artichoke and it would have been better than the Wii U in terms of naming. So it's just, you can't compare it. Like, everyone's like, it's better than the Wii name, and I'm like, no, it's not. The Wii was a great name for a system when it really came down to it, because it made sense and it was something you typed into Google and it was unique. The WII was, you type Switch into Google. If someone tweeted at me today, who knows what you're gonna come up with?
Here's my question for everybody before we jump off of it on naming thing. Right? When was the last console that was named that didn't sound weird at first blush? Xbox Scorpio. I was
PlayStation
like,
4.
Yeah, well, that doesn't even count.
Scorpio's not the name.
But I
That's
remember
a
not
code
liking
name.
Vita, and then Vita just
Vita's
became
stupid as
nomenclature.
well.
Vita's a terrible name
Vita
too.
just become
Xbox One, horrible name.
But they all just become nomenclature.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, not to mention that this one, Switch is, I mean, what they're doing here is smart. The commercial shows it. When you're talking to a mom, it's easy to be like, oh, because it switches between TV and portable. Okay, it's a DS and a Nintendo. I get that.
Yeah,
Like,
and you know, it's a Switch from the Wii U and all that shit for all the fucking people.
yeah,
Whatever.
yeah.
It doesn't matter. Like, you're right. You could have called it anything. Like, but I really believe that. It's like, I think that this is enough away from what they have that I'm like, all right, cool. Good. It could have been worse.
But then, yeah, I mean, I think that's the only negative thing that I really see is just the name specifically, because yeah, it's a move away from Wii U, which was a confusing name. I think double down confusing because of the tablet, which seems like it connected to the Wii and all that kind of stuff. But names do matter. I do think that the name of the Vita name did in some way, not in a major way, but in some way hurt it. And so I think a name is important. I think a GameCube was a really powerful name. Nintendo 64, powerful name. You know, in Japan, Famicom or Super Nintendo, these are good names for consoles. And so, and I do again think that the Wii was weird, a name, but then the Wii became nomenclature, became just part of our vocabulary. Switch just struck me as weird. That's really the only negative thing I saw in this entire out of this entire thing. I'm a little concerned about
the Joy-Con controllers.
Yeah, well, just in the sense that it just seems like there's a lot of things that you can lose, and I'm interested to see or break. Like, what if one side break? So like, there's all these kinds of things you have to worry about, but we've never had to worry about that before because there's never been something like this. So I'm sure that there are going to be clever solutions to all of these different problems. I think I really think it's a cool thing, and I think a nice synthesis of what Nintendo does well, and it's doubling down on this more mobile market, or this more, which I don't know if it's a great idea. This doesn't scream to me as something that's going to be a massive seller like Wii or anything like that, but it's certainly going to do better than Wii U, and that's probably all that they can ask for. So
We'll do better than 3DS.
Probably not. It'll probably be more expensive than 3DS, less accessible than 3DS. Doesn't seem like they're even going after the 3DS market based on the marketing. So
I think they are, with all the Mario Kart playing in the
yeah, but there's no.
cabs
I mean,
and stuff.
but 35-year-old people are not the people that are buying 3DSs in droves. It's 10-year-olds that are buying 3DSs. So it's
Like
or their
everyone has
parents.
3DSs.
Well, no, I mean everyone had a DS and everyone had there were other even a PSP or something like that. 3DS's sales are not up in that stratosphere yet. So I just think that like based on the marketing, it just seems like they're going after someone else, and it seems like they're going after the multi-pillar approach again, like they tried to do with GameCube and GBA and DS. So
this is another
I don't
return
think
to
so.
what we're talking about, though. Of like this is talking to us. This is talking to the 30-somethings who are into video games. This is like not the speech. It's not the presentation, but it's similar to PlayStation's approach, right? Of hey, here we are. Here's this thing. We learn from our mistakes. It's about games. It's about games you'd want to play. There is no touch. There's no one touching anything here.
Although
there's
it is
no one
touchscreen.
Oh, I know, but I'm saying in the marketing
this,
we're giving
exactly.
you no touching, no waggling. It's just straight up real games you'd want to play with your friends. Switch the controllers, do whatever.
At cool rooftop parties.
Switch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't like the guy who like took it like, oh, my dog needs to go out to the park. He's playing in direct sunlight. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
let's see how this one's gonna hold
Whatever.
up.
You need to do something
No,
to
I know.
show it off. It's on the
trust
go.
me, I've tried to play the Vita in direct sunlight. I know.
So last night I watched the Wii U trailer that was very similar to this in terms of like there's a poppy song playing and there's just a bunch of cuts of people smiling, playing games and shit, and it's like it's such a far cry. And a lot of the features we saw in that didn't end up actually making it even to the console. Like they're doing Wii Golf thing where you put the gamepad
pad
on the
down.
floor.
Yeah.
I don't think that ever actually happened, and like there's a lot of things like that. So this we'll see what goes on. But my big takeaway from that is a lot of the stuff that did make it through I didn't care about and I never used, so that doesn't matter. The guys playing with the Joy-Con controller on the side, we're never gonna do that. So it like
when we fly and we play Mario Kart, we're bringing our Nintendo
controllers.
Switch Pro controller.
That's fine. That's a normal.
I want to know if they let me use my. No, I know, but I think it's funny that they call it out. My big question. There's a million big questions. Battery. I want to know price, but I want to know: did the old controllers work? Will my old Pro controller sync with it? You'd imagine, knowing Nintendo, they
doubt
would.
it.
You think? Because the Wii motes, from Wii to Wii U worked, and I know that's still got Wii in it or whatever. But I would think my old Pro controller would work with this one.
I don't know. I mean, I almost, in a way, hope not, just to get away from the Wii mote and Wii stuff like that. I know that sucks because we have so much of that shit, but I feel like those things kind of suck. What I do want is USB on the
device itself.
on the port. It doesn't need to be on the actual device.
Oh,
that'd be
it's on the
nice,
port. Maybe it's maybe on one of these next ones. Kev, if you see when you get to, hold on, I want to call it the right thing here. When you get to the Nintendo Switch dock, if you can pause it, I do believe I saw ports on that bitch.
Because for the Smash Bros, because that's really what's exciting to me. So now that we have this, there's a lot we can go off when it comes to the rumors that we've seen over the last year.
Yeah, right. Wouldn't those look like USB to me?
Kind of look like HDMI.
Do they look like it?
Yeah.
They have two HDMI outs in and in?
Well, one in and one out. No.
Why would that make sense?
Yeah, you wouldn't have it.
I don't know. It could be. You'd assume it has USB.
Yeah.
Right? But we've heard about ports or enhanced ports of Smash Bros, Splatoon, and Mario Kart 8.
Yeah.
Just to start. And in this trailer, you see two of those. So you see Splatoon and you see Mario Kart 8. But both of those have features that aren't in the current versions of the game.
Per Schneider was shouting out
looks
about
better. It has different hairstyles and stuff like that. And Mario Kart 8 has King Boo, who was not in that game, and has dual items, so you can switch between the items.
Kind of like Mario Kart Double Dash.
Exactly. So I'm like, I like that we're going to be getting these games. It's going to give the amazing Wii U games another life that they totally need.
That people didn't get to play.
Yeah, and enhancing them is really exciting, especially when it comes to things like Smash Bros. Because great, we're going to get more Smash Bros. The Smash Bros. That's awesome, but hopefully more characters, hopefully more things going on.
Ice climbers.
Ice climbers.
Dry bones.
The 3DS couldn't do it.
Yeah, the
Switch?
3DS couldn't do much.
It's your time.
Switch your
time.
perspective.
Yeah, so I agree with Greg in the sense that I feel like there's major questions they have to answer, and they're going to have to answer them somewhat soon. And I'm sure that the investor meeting is going to be interesting because, I want to know how powerful it is. Now, you could tell me the statistics, and that's not going to be meaningful to someone like me that doesn't understand that stuff. I just need to know where it sits on the paradigm. We knew that Wii U, for instance, was not as powerful as PS3 and Xbox 360, right? But it was more powerful than the Wii. And so we can kind of put it on that timeline. My suspicion is that it's a similar thing where it's clearly not as powerful as PS4, Xbox One. It can't be, or that thing would cost a way more money than it's probably going to cost. But I'm sure it is more powerful than the PS3 and the Xbox 360. And so it sits somewhere in that space. My prediction is it's probably going to be $300. And I think that's a totally affordable and reasonable price, and I'm all about it. Like I want it, and even if we didn't even touch on the fact that fucking new Mario game is being shown off for the first time, which looks fucking cool. Good timing.
Let's talk about the Mario game for a second. So there's a lot to be seen here. it essentially there's two separate gameplay clips of it, and it's not enough to really make too many conclusions. But there's the question of, is it more Galaxy like, is it more 3D World like, or is it more Mario 64 like? I'm getting hints of Mario 64 more than anything. The camera kind of feels like 3D World or 3D Land, but since it's behind him and since it's such an open, vast space, I think that the second thing that we're getting might be like a hub world. And the key things are they specifically show him doing a long jump and a triple jump, which is like, that is Mario 64, Mario Sunshine type deals were going on here, which is very exciting to me because we haven't seen that for so long.
Yeah.
And like that is like specifically talking to the NeoGAF crowd. That is specifically talking to the people that are like, shut up, it is what you want, deal with it. And I think that a lot of this trailer does that. There's also a heart in the background of the Mario footage, which is like so there's a health system. So it's not like 3D World where you're big and small and
Right.
it's the 2-hit system. It looks like we're gonna have another life thing. So is this Mario 128 finally? I fucking hope so.
Yeah, I think it'll be a launch game, and I suspect that. Well, I have a lot. I was just thinking about it on the way here, even in my Uber. Like, they kept the secret pretty well. Like,
Yeah.
it's pretty impressive. Like, just from a industry kind of perspective, like the name didn't leak, the console didn't leak, like the idea about it leaked, and there were some schematics and trademarks and all this kind of stuff. But really, like when I was watching the commercial, it really reminded me that obviously they were going to do a big production for their marketing. They're going to get a lot of people involved. But I always found it so interesting with the hundreds of people that probably were involved in this. Outside of Nintendo, they're a production company. They hired all these people, and no one said anything. And not that I'm sure the NDA would encourage them to say anything. So I really like that. It's nice to have a genuine surprise. So really, when I look at the positives and negatives, the pros and cons, the only negatives I really see right now, and I'm sure there are going to be others, as you said, is the name. And that's just because I think names do matter. Like, you can't. People are saying like, well, the name doesn't matter. The name. I'm like, you can't have it both ways. The Wii U name certainly destroyed that console. Or helped destroy it. I mean, other things helped destroy it as well. And so you have to be careful about that. But maybe it doesn't matter. Everyone's like, what would you name it? I'm like, I would have just named it the Nintendo personally, but and gone back to, and have a real name for it, like an NES style thing. But get people back into using your name in that very bold and like when your parents used to be like, are you playing Nintendo? My parents still say that shit, like
Playing the Nintendo.
and like to bring that ubiquity back to that name, I think would have been really cool. It was the same reason why we wanted the Xbox and the PlayStation to just be called those things, and those are good names. Everyone's like, well, is Xbox and PlayStation a good name? I'm like, yeah, those are great fucking names, actually.
Yeah.
So that's my only, and like the pros and cons list, the only negative. And then I see a lot of things to really be excited about. I'm excited to pre-order it. I'm excited to have it first day one. And when I'm to your point with the online network and all that stuff, I really think that this is going to be a virtual console machine for me almost primarily, because they have a big list of people that are supporting them, both publishers and developers, but they had a similar thing for Wii U and other things too. And it ultimately doesn't pan out.
We'll see where that goes.
The big thing is I glossed over before is Bethesda running Skyrim on this, which is a super kind of interesting thing, and shows you the direction I think that Nintendo wants to move in.
Third-party support. I mean, this, you see it. It's like we got NBA 2K17 playing.
Yeah.
We got Skyrim, and then we got the Mario, the Zelda, Mario Kart, Splatoon. It's just like this shows off a lot.
That's a launch lineup. I mean,
of different. I'm a
sounds
little
like it is.
My thing about Mario is I don't know. It looks a little rough right now to be ready for March, but I don't know.
real quick, I mean, to run through some of the call-outs on their list here, right? Activision, Atlas, Bethesda, Capcom, EA, Square, Take-Two, Telltale, Ubisoft, Warner Brothers.
From Software.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah,
There's a million on there. There's level 5 too. But like the thing about the ones I'm calling out are the ones that this is. And that, granted, I'm an optimist like you, Tim. This looks amazing. I can't wait to. The first thing, as soon as this was done, I went to Amazon to see if I could pre-order it. Came up with an RF switch for the N64. The thing about it though is this is the first time, I was telling a friend, this is the first time I think in a decade where I've entertained the idea of playing a multi-platform game not on PlayStation. Because if right now, Batman Arkham Asylum I'm playing, right? And I'm getting on a plane in 6 hours or whatever. This would be fucking awesome to have it and be ready to go. I'm going to play Dragon Quest because I love Dragon Quest and that game's great. But to have all my real progress carry back and forth, it's like, I'm never going to, trophies still are awesome and I love them or whatever, but it's not like I'm getting anything out of that. So why
also got a trophy system on this. And that's the thing that I'm super interested in. Other than some of the names, like I see names on here that Greg didn't highlight that I think are like even more interesting. Like, you have like level 5 on here, for instance, which isn't a huge surprise, but like, is it going to be something like you would expect, or is it going to be something like a Ni no Kuni or a big game or a Tales game, or not a Tales game, something like White Knight Chronicles or something that's going to be proprietary maybe to Nintendo consoles? Like I get excited about some of the names that I didn't expect. Spike Chunsoft, Danganronpa Studio, even THQ Nordic's on here. What are they going to bring over? Darksiders or something new? Like they promised a lot of new games. So when I see a lot of the things on here, like, yeah, of course Square is going to be here. It's awesome that Bethesda's coming over. Capcom, obviously, Activision, Atlas, but Atlas is already supporting Nintendo heavily. But when I see some of these other smaller names, NIS for instance, that have slowly moved away from PlayStation and started to democratize their games a little bit, with PC especially, I get excited about a lot of that as well. So
if you can get Persona 5, some definitive edition, whatever, on the NX and have it with you all the time, you fucking kidding me?
I mean, that's the thing is like Colin, we always talk about, and especially with the whole Xbox One S and the PlayStation 4 Pro conversations we've had for so long, you talk about how it's like the power doesn't matter and all this stuff. And I think that this is finally getting to a point where it's like, obviously this is not PS4, Xbox One level stuff. And I don't think we're going to necessarily be getting all of the multi-platform games. Like,
and that's why I say optimism.
Yeah, no, for sure. But I do think that like seeing something like Skyrim, like you would assume this is Skyrim HD, which is, I mean, it's a last gen game, but it's for next gen consoles now, right?
Yeah.
NBA 2K17, you imagine that it's the current version. It's like, yeah, those are smaller games in terms of they're not like pushing shit. And I think that's what we're kind of be getting. And these games look better than the Wii U versions of the games we're getting. And Wii U, the games, the look of the Wii U games was never their issue. Like in terms of first party, like the Mario 3D World and all those things, like they're beautiful games. So to have them with a little bit more power and stuff, like I feel like that's really all that it needs. Like Zelda looks fantastic.
Oh, I mean,
right?
that's the big thing. I was like, yeah, Zelda will be the game I play, but then like Skyrim, right? Skyrim doesn't move the needle of excitement for me at all on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, because I played it on PS3, whatever. I'm not going to come home and sit down and play Skyrim again. But to have Skyrim on a portable, on a plane, to be able to sit there and, sure. Because when I beat Zelda and I've done enough in their open world, whatever it's going to be, I'd love to jump back in and have a character that I just fuck around with.
Mm-hmm. I mean, for me, the thing that is most exciting, besides the new Mario game,
is that Joy-Con controller.
No, honestly, it's not that. It's the fact that, that exists, and that's fine, that's an option, but I'm never going to play with the weird-ass GBASP, like, putting the Joy-Con things together.
See, I think here's my concern with it is that I think you're gonna get better battery life if you use it like this, like a Wii U gamepad. Because in my head, what I want to do obviously is always have it with me and then always have the Pro controller with me. But tethering them, I have to imagine, unless there is a USB out or whatever that I'm connecting to that way. But even then, it's gonna drain so much power. Yeah,
we'll figure out the battery stuff later. But when you look at it as a tablet, like it looks like the right version of the Wii U gamepad.
Oh, right? Yeah, the one an adult version.
Like, exactly.
Not the Fisher-Price one.
Going back to it, this is not Fisher-Price. This does look like a real device. Like when you have them all flimsy, that's pretty bad. But when you put them together, it looks like it's going to be really solid. Like I wish that the screen kind of took up a bit more of the thing itself. But it's like I think that was a design choice to make sure that the controllers didn't feel like plastic. That they felt like it connects. And Colin, like the big issue you were worried about was the offset analog sticks, and like they nailed it. Yeah. I'm a little concerned about the D-pad not being.
There's no traditional D-pad, which someone
there's a little baby one up there.
Yeah, but that it's not even on the right side, right? Like that's the thing. I'm like, can you?
I doubt that's a real thing.
Yeah, like that button.
This little tiny dude?
Yeah, I thought maybe it was just something like.
Well, there's
maybe
a plus and minus.
Yeah, it's plus and minus.
Yeah. So, okay. Well, I just thought those were starting select buttons or something.
Well, so what's interesting is like, so yeah, the Wii U gamepad has the plus and minus buttons. So it's like there could be those, but there's also 4 more buttons on the thing. So it's like I don't know. There's a million starts and selects.
I mean, there's only so much real estate for them to work with. I always thought on Wii, like the fact that on Wii U the analog stick was above the buttons was fucking weird. Anyone who defended that, I was like, what are you talking about? That's not the way we play games. I remember, as I said before, playing Mass Effect 3 on it for review at IGN and being like, this sucks. Why can't I use, who does that? And they clearly know that sucks.
I know.
So they won the day on that one because that's not how we play games. We move up.
And that's huge.
From the analog stick.
That's huge because this looks great. And what's so awesome to me about this is anytime we've talked about what do we want from the Vita 2, it's this for me. Every single thing. I'm like, I just want a big screen. I want to be able to play it or to use a controller and play it. Thank you. Thank you for giving me that. And you know what? Grown-up buttons. Thank the fucking Lord. Did you see the size of the buttons on the Pro controller? Those are the biggest goddamn buttons I've ever seen. I wish we had a picture of it. They're amazing. Thank you.
Yeah, this will be marketing research. This is actually really serendipitous for Sony in a way because the Vita's dead. Didn't work out for them. And they're going to get some good market research, first-hand market research done and spend a goddamn dime, other than I'm sure they're R&D'ing their own stuff right now, but about does this matter? Is this going to work? Like they're going to have now a litmus test from the guys who really defined handheld gaming since 1989, putting out something that's a hybrid that I think is going to be most appealing as a handheld. I think that's obvious, and they'll be able to watch and see and be like, if this does well, then we actually can move forward with whatever plans we have to make something that's more equivalent with what PS4 is in a handheld form. And if it fails, then they can be like, get the fuck. We don't have to worry about that anymore. Like, we're not going to win. So this is like creating a new, it's an interesting hybrid market of like, well, a little bit of mobile gaming, maybe skewing a little bit older, having a console quality game on the go. It's a lot of different ideas. This is a really last ditch effort for Nintendo, I think, obviously, to make their hardware work again. If it doesn't work, that's the end of Nintendo hardware. I think everyone knows that. But I do feel like this is going to work in some sort of way, unless the news that comes out about everything else, which they're hiding right now, which is smart, is just disastrous. If the battery life's literally 2 hours, or if which is awful, if the controllers are flimsy or things break, or I'm really interested to see all of that as well. But I think it seems like they have the catalog of publishers and developers lined up. The device looks great. The price is probably going to be right. Nintendo's not stupid. They usually nail that stuff pretty well. And it does move away from the toys for children thing with the marketing. Because Nintendo fans have aged up and grown up. I mean, I don't have kids. I don't know, but I have 6 nephews and nieces. None of them give a flying fuck about Nintendo, but they all play games, or they'll play Minecraft. They're into Minecraft, or the PlayStation. They're into older games. Like my brother's kids really like playing retro games and stuff like that. So I feel like it's a different environment. I feel like the Nintendo fan is older. The new Nintendo fan is the child of the Nintendo fan, and so everyone has to scale up together. And I think that this device might do that.
And that's what the thing shows, right? It's what we talk about, is that our lives are so busy, we move around so much that you don't have time to sit down all the time and play a game in front of a TV, and that's what they're going for. I think that in a year, the name is going to prove to be actually good. I think right now it's just a shock after being ready for NX. I think Switch is going to be good in the end, and we'll like that. And I think it's going to be a really big success, the console in general.
Yeah, for me, like, all hyperbole and excitement aside, because obviously I'm extremely excited about this. I'm shocked that Nintendo did this right. Like, because even this part, I was convinced they were going to fuck up.
Right.
I was convinced we were going to see this and I was going to be like, almost.
Yeah.
But I'm not. I'm like, this is it.
Yeah.
Like, this trailer, it is that PlayStation 4 message that we got years ago. And I'm like, holy shit, I didn't know Nintendo had it in them, because you combine this trailer with this device, with this list of publishers, seeing Skyrim there, which, all right, it's a 5-year-old game, whatever. It's a step in the right direction. And it being a console experience on the go, but not the consoles the modern consoles, the Wii U console. Like, let's be realistic about this. That's all amazing. But when you add that with the idea that the Wii U and the 3DS are no more, and every first party and second party Nintendo game is going to be for one device, fuck yes.
Yeah.
That could mean we get actual games. Like, all those things added together, and I'm just like, thank you. Yes, please.
Yeah,
work.
and I think it's going to be a fun place to get in. As I said before, because Greg and I are into trophies, obviously, and we like those kinds of things, I hope they have some sort of system like that, and we can all start at the same time again, which we haven't really had, 2005 and 2008, respectively, when the achievements and trophies started. It would be fun to get into that environment, too, and start doing that maybe for older games and retro games, give you a reason to kind of stick around when the game releases slow down, which they will, traditionally, for Nintendo consoles. So there's a lot for them to nail that I think will be important for the longevity of the console, but I think that, or the handheld, or whatever you want to call it, but I think that it's certainly very appealing, and it whets my appetite for what's to come. I mean, a 3D Mario game like that on the go sounds really great. I'm with Greg. I don't give a fuck about Skyrim, but like playing a Metroid game or a Metroid Prime game or a 3D Mario game or whatever on the go sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
And I still get way more excited about the older games that you can just bring around with you, that you don't have to have a modded PSP or any of those kinds of games. I'm happy to buy those games again if I have to, as long as now I have an account system and stuff like that. I'm sure all this information is going to come out. We're really only 5 months away, so I think the timing's great.
So exciting.
When do you think the next dump the information up? We get a direct in December, maybe?
So I'm not clear when the investor meeting is. I think that it's early. I think it's next Tuesday, which
Okay.
is why
They had to get this out.
had to get this out. So which I think is obviously a very smart call. So I imagine at the investor meeting, usually there's not too much information from those,
Sure.
but there's sometimes like one big thing. Like I think they announced the 2DS in an investors meeting one time, so big, whatever.
Yeah. But I mean,
or-
it's going to be tidbits. It's going to be little dollops of information as we go, right?
Yeah,
Because
like Pac-Man was announced for Smash Bros. At an investor meeting. So it's
Yeah.
like we do get game announcements. And gameplay stuff.
I don't give a shit about the game announcements right now, right? Like what I want to know is battery. I want to know online. I want to know, does it have onboard storage? How does it work
Yeah,
with the
it
internet?
does.
It has. We've
32
seen.
gigabyte.
Okay, great.
Somewhere it said that.
Okay.
I don't remember where I saw
Wait,
that.
32 gigabytes of storage is all it has?
That's what I saw. But remember, it's cartridge though.
Yeah, but what about downloadable games?
Yeah, I don't know.
Battlefield 1 is twice that big.
They're not going for
Yeah,
the
but
digital
not-
future.
Battlefield 1 isn't going to be on this.
I know, but I'm saying, well, first of all, it could be, and second of all, the I'm just saying, like, a modern game. I just deleted Doom off my PS4 yesterday. That's 60 gigabytes, right? Like, so that's awful. If that's all they have for storage,
That might have been from a leak thing. I saw. I don't know.
Yeah,
I read that.
I
on
didn't
the
see.
other-
I read this is the only official Nintendo word on top of this trailer, and it doesn't mention that. In
They
there. And that
have
would
to-
seem like a weird thing to toss in.
They have to have a lot of storage on this thing. Like it's super important. You know, like that's the way people play games now. I understand they're going with the proprietary card, not proprietary maybe, but a card system going back to kind of a cartridge style thing, which is going to eliminate load times and all that kind of stuff. And that's great. I think that's smart. I've been reading a lot of things about how they wonder if a lot of future tech is going to actually revert back to that and get away from optical media or whatever. But like, I don't know enough about that to know if that's smart or not. But 32 gigabytes is not enough space.
Well, stick with me on this though. What if it's not built in? It's just one of, like, because that was the thing with the 3DS being able to pop in just an SD card.
That would be great.
I don't give a shit if it's 32 out of the box, but I get to put in whatever SD card I want. I don't care.
Yeah, I mean that's totally different. That's why we need to get a closer look at the console.
100%.
The thing. They could learn one thing from Vita though, and I hope they learn this as well, is to get the bad news out now. You know, like don't wait until the month before to start fucking dropping
Late
bombs
January,
and really
yeah.
ruining people's excitement for the thing. I would do that as soon as possible. If I were them, I'd be like, this is how powerful it is. This is the battery life. This is the price as soon as possible, because then that gives everyone time to digest and marinate on it, and then the arc goes back up and everyone gets excited again, regardless, because then they start seeing the games. If you do it the other way around, you're like, oh, how look how tantalizing Zelda is and all this. And by the way, it's $400.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
by the way, there's no onboard storage of any consequence. And by the way, the account system. So I'm like, nah, you got to do that first.
Reggie, all we're saying is give him a shit sandwich. You had a great thing here. Now you give us the bad news. Then you give us a whole bunch of games, and we're all excited.
Just get it out of the way. Just get it out of the way. Then there are no excuses. So yeah, pre-order as soon as possible. I'm going to pre-order it as soon as humanly possible. Absolutely. I'm back for now.
Ladies and gentlemen, what do you
Good
think
to have you, Colin.
of the Nintendo Switch? Let us know in the comments below. Share this video with your friends. And until next time, it's been our pleasure to serve you. X has given it to you.